Welcome back to Rubbin'minds. Now, words like design, innovation, creativity, tech, entrepreneurship, they're all buzzwords. And we've seen people go to university, study one thing, come out and they do something totally opposite. And we are seeing the knowledge economy, we're seeing a content creation economy, a tech-enabled economy, and creative hubs allow for that co-creation to happen, allow for the innovation to happen. But why don't we have as many creative hubs? How can we get to a point where in this society we have creative hubs fully harnessed for their contributions? Joining me for this conversation is a creative entrepreneur in the person of Rex Moses. Welcome to Rubbin'minds.
Thank you. Thank you for having me at Rubbin'minds.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. Now,
Yes.
We've seen the power of creative hubs, and we've seen so many innovations come out of it, people building careers, generating income in millions of dollars for the Nigerian economy. And it begs the question, why do we have so few of them if they have such strong powers?
I think because of we haven't started seeing it as a big deal, right? Our policymakers, our government are still seeing crude oil, right, as the main thing, rather than creativity is the new currency, right? So because of our policymakers, our government haven't started looking the other way. They are, fully, and then they have been mainly focusing on oil, rather than looking, different areas or different sector. That is why we still have few creative hubs in the country.
So a lot of times we're always expecting government to take the lead on these things. But
Yes.
can we look at some other aspects of society? Like, let's look at education, for example. How many schools, how many universities, how many institutions are looking at having a hub where you can be many things at once? Just because you're a doctor does not mean you can't be a singer or a content creator or a cook or a chef or an artist.
Well, as you know, our education system, our universities, they are still theory-based. They are not practical. And that is where, creative hubs comes in, right? Because creative hubs give that room, for real practical, for young creatives to harness their skills, right? I'll tell you something. A few months ago, we went around some tertiary institutions discussing with them, right? Even if it's to have some creative courses, maybe we start it as diploma or as selective programs. And I can tell you for a fact that out of close to about 10, it is one private university that even accepted that idea, because they are still looking at, maybe they are still looking like content creation. What is that? What is music or what is movie? Maybe because of the society that, we are. So many of these schools are not even ready or willing to accept that idea. You have rightly said it. We have lawyers that are full-time musicians. We have someone like Lai
Falz
Wasabi.
the bad guy.
Falz the bad guy. We have Lai Wasabi that is a full-time content creator. And I tell you for a fact, the creative industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that we should not take lightly, or we shouldn't take for granted.
One would imagine that seeing those names, seeing
Yes.
the actual figures, seeing how well our tech firms, seeing how
Yes.
well our creative entrepreneurs are doing, that the government will pay more attention. What else do you have to do to make this like a front burner issue? Because government is always saying they're looking for investment, they're looking for money. If you are making plenty money in the creative industry, that's opportunity for tax, that's opportunity for investment. So what do we need to do to make this a front burner issue?
First and first, you ask yourself, how many policymakers are truly interested in our creative sector, right? So let's say, for instance, we have someone like Faz or someone like Bona or Lai Wasabi, and those are, they are in the position of our policymakers, right? They'll be able to make the right policies because they know how important creative industry is for a nation. So I believe we need to start having a situation whereby we are having some of our big names get into politics.
So, I can't help but think of the Honorable Minister Bosun Tijani.
Yes,
he
he's
is
trying,
a product
yes.
from the creative economy.
Yes.
Is in your estimation, has he
Yes.
done enough to make sure that this becomes a mainstream thing?
Well, to be fair, just like as I mentioned, because he has been in the tech, he has been in the creative industry, right? He's pushing right. So, in my judgment, I would say Bosun has really tried, and I will give him a pass mark. For some of the moves that he has been making, I will give him a pass mark. See, it comes down to the what I
But
just
if
said.
you're saying you're giving him a pass mark, one
Yes.
would think that there should be collaboration.
Yes,
His
truly.
ministry alone can't be doing everything. If
True.
we want education, we want tertiary institutions to make sure that they have creative hubs, then where is that that collaboration? Where is it happening?
Yeah, that collaboration isn't there yet.
We have
That's
Federal
synergy.
Ministry of Tourism,
Yes.
Arts and Culture and the Creative Economy. We have communications.
Yes.
We have education. And we can see the power of these hubs. So
Yes.
why aren't we getting our act right?
Firstly, right, I would not say that they are not seeing all of these things because, for instance, we are exporting our music, right, and our music is global. Our movies, we're exporting it, and then we are doing awesomely well, right? I believe there is no better time for us to call on bigger and better collaboration than now, right? Because if we sleep on the creative industry, it will suffer, especially a nation with high numbers of youth population and with, of course, high rate of youth unemployment. So I don't think there's a better time for us to, drum calls, for the policymakers, for the government, for different ministries, right, for us to collaborate and then push the creative industry better than now.
If the government are sleeping on their responsibilities and not rising to the occasion, then where does the private sector step in? Like, what can we be doing? If government's not going to take the lead, then how can private sector say, look, these creative hubs, imagine having a creative hub in all 774 local government areas. Look at what it will do for youth employment. Look at what it will do for bringing down the rates of crime.
Now, thank you. So for the creative industry, regarding the private sectors, I think what they can do, private companies, different areas they can actually even key into this is, imagine an organization saying, okay, let me collaborate with this creative hub. We will take your best 3 cinematographers and then retain them. We will work with your best 3 fashion designers, right? To create some unique fashion piece and then export them. I think those are the areas that private sectors can come in. We are also ready to fund your best 10 students in your creative hub. We are ready to assist with tools, right? Because the creative hub is still very few in this country and we ought to be doing more. We ought to be doing better. So in terms of assisting with funding, with tools, and of course, collaborating in different projects, those are the areas that private sectors can come in to key in to collaborate with creative hubs in Africa.
And how can these organizations taking the lead or looking to be a part of the solution, what help can they get from the government? If government is not going to get it with policies,
Yes.
then what can they be doing to ensure that those who want to do the work or who have already started by creating these hubs are encouraged to do more?
Fantastic. Grant, right? Government can assist with creative hubs with grant, right? It takes them to another level. It helps with sustainability. Government can also assist with tools, with equipment, cameras, sewing machines, right? Studio equipment. Government can also help in those areas. Space, for infrastructure. Government can say, oh, this creative hub, we love what people are doing. For the next 20 years, we are giving this space for you to use for free to support your movement. Government can help in those areas as well. And of course, better policy. We need better policies for our creative industry to help these creative hubs.
Because I don't know if you're watching the show, but earlier on we're discussing the silent crisis of children on the streets.
Yes.
And abroad, you see community centers where these children can go and pick up a skill. Now,
Yes.
a creative hub can be that opportunity. The child might not go to a 9-to-5 school,
Yes.
but has a program that they are doing, skills acquisition, and they're able to contribute their quota to society instead of being a menace.
You have hit the nail on the head. Weeks back, we went around some communities, Agboi local government, some places in Koshofe, right? We went around some areas in Agege, right, to take some numbers and do more of like an awareness. And I tell you for a fact, we have so many talents wasting away on the street. In fact, that was one of the things that pushed us, for instance, in my own organization, for us to create a particular project called Slum to Screen, where we are taking people from the street, train them in cinematography, photography, music production, fashion designing. And we are not even just leaving it at that, right? We are taking it for them to even create their own fashion piece and then create their own short films project, because talents are wasting in the street.
And these are projects that the government can certainly scale through their support. Thank you very much, Rex Moses, for being our guest on Rubbin'minds. Yeah. And we hope that the government will heed the calls and invest in the creative economy, and there will be more collaborations between the different ministries to tackle this problem of youth unemployment, but to also ensure that Nigerians are gainfully employed and are making the most of their situations. It's been my pleasure hosting. My name is Isabella Adediji. You can follow the conversation online using the hashtag Rubbin'minds. Good afternoon. See you next time.